It's too short. You guys know that I really don't like handheld mics? Really don't like handheld mics. I like lapels. You guys know what a lapel mic is? It goes up here. That John got right here. Alright, stop. Yeah, someone just be like, I volunteer. In Jesus' name. Alright, guys. You already prayed, right? Yeah. Let's pray, man. Alright, guys, ready to pray? Let's pray. Alright, Father God, I ask you to use me, speak through me, Lord, empty me out. Touch these guys where they need to be touched. I don't know where they need to be, Lord, but you do. You tailor this message for each one of these people. We're all here for a reason, and let's realize that. In Jesus' name, amen. Alright, guys. Who has messed up families? Let's see. Raise your hand. No shame, no shame. Who has a messed up family? Yeah. Me too. Girls, I'm looking right at you. You have a messed up family? Oh, come on. Anyway, I need to get my keys out of my back pocket. Things in my back pocket is bothering me. Who wants this? Alright, anyway, let's pull back in. That's my fault. I threw the camera. Alright, now, most of you raised your hand and said we have a messed up family, right? We all have a messed up family. Some of our families, who has recently learned that your family, maybe not messed up, but is a little crazy? Yeah, me too. Yeah, like you look at your parents and you're like, hold on guys, you look at your parents and you're like, what? What are you talking about? I'm 12 years old and I make more sense than what you just said. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily something you should say to them, because it's not. But we all have those moments. We all have those moments when we just want to drop kick children that are talking. I'm sorry. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Just recently, in the last couple of years, let's say this, I realized that my family was not the only weird family. And actually it was it blew me away. It was like a revelation. And I was like, no way. The Ricciardelli family is the weirdest on earth. There's no other family that's weirder. My mom fights with herself in the basement. And not actually, but verbally fights with herself. Like the dust is listening. My one brother will go on the computer and no one else will exist. He'll be in the middle of the family room. He's sitting on the computer. Chris! I told you name. Hey, you listening? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys ever do that? Your parents call you up and be like, hey, John, take out the trash. Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm in my room listening to my music. Close the door harder. Turn the music up a little more. We're all a little guilty of that. We didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Really didn't hear you. Well, I'm guilty of that. I'm sorry. Just being honest with you guys. But recently, like I said, I realized how weird my family was. I just want you guys to know, you're not the only one with a weird family. We all have strange families. Like I said, my mom talks to herself. I don't know, nuts factor, but all women, I think, I've come to this conclusion. I'm probably going to solve the vast majority of the crowd. So anyway, this I don't want to say. Okay, all women talk to themselves. I'm just saying. See? Listen. Anyway, families all have a habit of it's my fault. So anyway, guys, you guys ever notice that your family has like little weird words they call each other, or sorry, stuff in my throat. You guys ever notice that weird names like maybe snotula or seaweed? Or, yeah, I told you my family's really weird now. Now don't look at me like your families don't do this. Come on.
They do.
My family is really weird. So anyway, so basically, what I'm trying to get at is, we all have dysfunctional families, but we all fight, which is a little tougher of a situation. We all fight, whether it be the fact that we fight hot, which is yelling at each other and screaming at each other and telling your mom and dad off, and your mom and dad tell you off, and you leave the house, you slam the door, or you fight cold, which is you don't necessarily yell at each other, but it's almost as bad or worse. It's kind of like the glare. You walk in from school and you had a fight with your parents and they're sitting on the couch and you're like, just like that. You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, just trying to get to the point. You guys, we all fight. All our families have arguments. We all have arguments, whether it be the hot argument or the cold argument. We all have this argument, and it really isn't fun. It actually has the power to, at least in my example, and you guys can say yes or no, it can ruin your day. So you have a fight before you go to school, and you just ruins your whole day. You go to school and your friends are like, "What's wrong?" You're like, "Nothing. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you." Blah blah. Don't look at me. Basically like that. Who's ever had a fight with their parents and just ruined their day? It's just really ruined their day. And really, this fight, even though you might not want to admit it, this fight really hurts you more than any other fight you had. You could have a fight with your brother and sister, you could have a fight with your friends, but a fight with your mom and dad, it's like, it really hurts. It really hurts. I remember one time, I came home, I'm a mechanic by the way, I'm an auto mechanic. I came home with my first big check from working at the Ford dealership, and I was so happy. I got this check, it was like, I won't tell you how much it was, but it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. But anyway, I looked at it, I'm like, yes, I'm so happy, I have a sense of fulfillment, and I worked a whole week for this, I worked 40 hours, and I'm like, so happy. And I showed my dad, I'm like, "Dad, look, I got this." I actually cashed it, so I said, "Dad, look," and I had like a bunch of 20s or whatever, and I said, I was just showing him how happy I was. And he's like, you owe us money. Can I, give me the money? I'm like, are you serious? Like, you couldn't even let me savor the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got home, and he was like outside doing some weed whacking, and I said, "Dad, look, I got all this money." "Oh yeah, well, you give us 150 of it." I'm like, why did you have to do that to me? I was like, really, Dad? Really? You had to be like that? He's like, "Yeah, you owe us money." And I mean, now granted, I wasn't a hobo, and so anyway, going on the story. My dad actually, I was like, "No, why can't you just let me pay next week?" Which necessarily wasn't the right thing because I had the money now. I just should have paid him then. But so I started arguing with him. He says, "You know what? If you don't pay me, I'm gonna call the cops on you." And I said, "Oh, you serious? You serious right now? You're gonna call the cops on me? Like, you're not gonna call the cops on me. Come on." He picks the phone up and dials 911. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Like, I can't believe you just did that to me. And don't do it, but when you make a 911 call on your cell phone, it makes like a weird noise. It makes like a panic alarm noise because Well, at least on his phone. I don't know, maybe some people say, no, it doesn't, but whatever. It does on this phone. And it went, and I was like, oh crap. And I like actually, something in me just like snapped, and this was years ago. Something in me just like snapped, and I grabbed his phone and smashed it on the ground in the driveway. Smashed it, it just went, like, never seen a cell phone explode in many more pieces than that. And I was just like, at the time, I had my own car, but at the time, I had his key to his truck on my key ring. And I was like, what happened? My truck like was stuck in the driveway because of the way I parked. Well, his truck was on the side of the house. Well, I was like, crap, the cops are coming. Like, they really were. And I was like, oh my gosh, and like, I just went crazy, and I went and got in the truck and drove away from my house. Stupid.
Yes.
Shouldn't have done that. Don't run from the cops.
The truck that helped you.
Yeah, well. So I ran from the cops. You know what? It's funny. I only went a couple blocks away from the house, and I parked behind the store, right? And I sat there, and I heard like 3 cops coming, 3 cars coming. And I was like, because whenever cops are called, they have to come, and it was considered domestic dispute. So there was these cops coming on. All I hear is woo. I'm like, uh-oh, this ain't good. They're coming for me. But they weren't coming for me. They were going to the house. And I was like, oh no, this is so, I was really upset. I really, like, let's all take a second and just imagine your parents calling your cops on you. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. I wasn't like, yeah, my parents called the cops on me, woo! No, so I came back with the truck, and the cops were looking at me like, oh look, he's back. Yeah, we knew you came back. So I get out of the truck, and they're like, can you tell us what's going on? I told them what's going on. I'm having a fight with my dad. And then one cop says, look, we understand he might have been a little irrational, but you took his truck and you owe them money. Really, you need to pay them the money. And I was like, I know. And I don't know if you ever talked to a cop, but you really like, I didn't know how bad I was going to get in trouble, so I was like, yes, sir, kissing his feet and stuff. Please don't arrest me. I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry. Don't put me in cuffs. So basically that fight, I look back on that and I was like, why did I take the truck? And if I probably would have just stayed there and instead of flipping out and saying to my dad, okay, here's $50, I'll give you $50 next week. It's like, you guys ever have those irrational moments where you just do crazy things? We all have those irrational moments. So yeah, you can raise your hand. But it was one of those crazy moments where I was like, oh, this makes sense. Let's go drive the truck around the street and wait for the cops to come to my house and then drive back. No. So there's 2 things I learned from that night that really were obvious, or that evening. Can't run away from your parents, and
Don't run away from your parents.
yeah. That too. But can't run away from your parents, and if you try to run away from them, you gotta eventually come back because you forgot your clothes at the house.
Where are you gonna go?
I'm like I had no money. I had car keys, and they were my dad's car keys. I had my dad's car with my dad's license plate that was insured under my dad's insurance. Yeah, didn't own the vehicle at all. So. Some of you might have had a similar experience. I know that's my experience. Maybe you've never literally run away from your house like I did. Like I did run away. But some of you, like I was saying before, may come home and dart up to your room, and say, and you know what? I'm just not even gonna talk to my parents today. Like, who's going a whole day with like saying 3 words to their parents? I've gone a whole day. Like some days, I mean, now that I'm older and it's a little different because I don't necessarily avoid them, but because they go to bed later, earlier than I do, my schedule kind of. But I get home and I haven't said anything to them all day. I haven't said one thing to my parents yet today, which is my fault. I'm sorry. Like, you should talk to your parents, and it's not because I don't like my parents. It's the fact that my schedule. But we all, I'm guilty of the fact of my mom will say, John, we need you to do this. And I'll be like, and I'll be sitting up in my bed, I'll hear her. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. Can't Chris do it? I really don't want to do it. Isn't Josh home? These are my brothers. Why do I have to do it? John, you never do anything. Come on. I don't want to do it. But we all have to help our parents. As much as you don't want to sometimes. It's all about the fact of the matter of you might not want to do it. You might not want to do it. But instead of saying out to them, I don't want to do it, because you're going to get in trouble for that. Don't say, I don't want to do it. Just do it, and pray that God's going to give you the happiness while you're doing it. Like the other day, my dad asked me to take something off the roof, and I was like, I don't want to go on the roof. Who the heck wants to go on the roof? You can fall off. It's not that I don't like heights. I just didn't want to go on the roof at 10:30 in the morning on my day off. I was like, you can fall off and get hurt and whatever. I was like, that's not cool. So ignoring your mom and dad, like I was saying, slamming the door shut, turning the music up, putting your iPod headphones in, and playing on Facebook all night long, playing whenever these kids play these days. Yeah. On Facebook. It's a new thing. So anyway, I'm guilty of, remember what I was saying earlier? I said, you look at your parents and you're like, what the heck? Why did you say that? Like, and you try to be like a parent to your parents. No, you can't do that. You can't do that because as much as you try to change them, they're not going to change. There's one thing you can change. And that one thing you can change is the way you act, the way you respond to when your parents say something to you. The way you can alter your relationship from a negative to a positive just by, instead of saying no, saying yes. Instead of saying, I don't want to do that, saying, I'll do it. And you know what? You might say it. At first you might be like, I don't want to do it. I really don't. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to do it. Well, you know what? It's not, in the long run, they need us and we need them. I mean, we wouldn't be living in the house. I'll tell you something right now. I'm looking at rent, and if you guys had to go live on your own, I'm having trouble trying to figure out how I'm going to live on my own. So, yeah, we can't. Oh man. Sorry, I got this just brought up all. Living on your own. I'm telling you. Stay home. So my moral is, if you want to stay home, you gotta get along with your parents. Because you're not gonna want to stay home if you don't get along with your parents. You hear what I'm saying here? You don't want to live in a house where you're... You don't want to live in a house where you're against your parents and your parents are against you, and you're trying to be parents to your parents. Because if you try to be parents to your parents, we weren't designed to raise... A 12-year-old was not designed to raise a 40, 50-year-old. It's like... It's kind of like this. It's backwards. It's backwards. We don't have the wisdom or the knowledge to pour into our parents correctly. It's like a baby trying to change its own diaper. Yeah, that would, now that would, don't get me wrong, that would be very nice. So we can't change our parents. You guys get that? You guys got that? Yeah. Can't change our parents. What can we change? What can we change? Everybody. Ourselves? We can change our attitude, right? Good. We got that. Okay, so we're going to move on. But I need you to stick with me. Because we're going to talk about the Bible now. I don't want to talk about the Bible. You know that guy Paul? Paul talks about this very thing in Ephesians about respecting our parents, loving on them. them loving on us. Paul wrote this note or letter to Ephesians. He was writing a letter to his friends. He had friends in Ephesians. We all have friends in faraway places. In order to strengthen them and encourage them, it's important to remember he was writing to them not to yell at them, but to strengthen them. What I'm doing to you guys right now, I'm trying to strengthen you. I'm not trying to say, don't yell at your parents. Because I'm telling you right now, I would be a hypocrite because I fail all the time. I'm trying every day not to yell at my parents. You know what I'm saying? I love my parents. That's all I say. I love my parents. So these people he was talking to were already on the right track. They were already walking the good, they were walking the Christian life. They were showing the fruits of a Christian life. They weren't back-talking their grandma and their mother. Paul was writing to them to pass on some wisdom, to teach them something. He was trying to say, look, this is what I know, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. Basically, in this letter, Paul wrote some very specific instructions about how Christians are supposed to act towards each other. His instructions are rational. They're not like way off on left field and you can grasp them. He says to people of Ephesus, right? He says this, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment. Now this is the part that I don't understand with the promise. But anyway, let's move on. That it may go well. Well, anyway, now that I understand. It's a promise that we should make towards God. That it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy long life on earth. What does that say? Let's try it again. One more time. Yeah. All right. So he's saying that if you respect your parents, guess what? You can enjoy a long life. That's what I said. Yeah, you can enjoy a long life. Enjoy. Key word there. Enjoy. Because trust me, if you don't respect your parents, you're not going to enjoy a long life. Or you may have a long life, but there's no going to be an enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
You may
enjoy. So, yeah, you may long life if you fail at respecting your parents. So, that's what it says in Ephesians 6, 1-13. But Paul didn't just hey, God gave me this right here. Here it is. That came from, where did it come from? I'm sorry, guys. Let me move on. Paul opened by addressing the children, but unfortunately children in the sense doesn't mean little people under the age of 10. Doesn't mean little kids. It means we're all children. We're all children of somebody. You guys are all children of your parents. I'm a child still, even though I could be an adult. Eric over there is a child because he has a mom and dad. So is Linda. She has a mom and dad. She's still a child in the fact that she has parents. We all have parents. If you're adopted, you have adopted parents. If whoever is, what's that? Sorry. You have someone that is over you and loves on you. So we all are supposed to obey them. And you're saying to me, but how are you supposed to obey them if they're being crazy? Well, I'll get back to that. So as a child in relation to your mom and dad's, how are we supposed to act? Here's Paul retrieved back to the commandments God gave to Moses and the Israelites. God said, look, you guys got to respect your parents. Let's do it. Oh, man. The fifth commandment, that's the fifth commandment. Honor thy father and mother. You guys ever hear that before? Your parents ever smack you with that? My parents ever. Honor your father and mother. I'm sorry. So, why would Paul want to pass on the commandment on to his friends? If he had other children, he would do this of his own. He would do them to his own. Well, if if he had children of his own, he would understand that he might want to share it with them. Like he's saying that, hey, this is some smart stuff. You guys ever have like really knowledgeable material and you're like, oh, I want to give that to my friend. You guys know? Yes?
Wait, what?
You know what I'm talking about? You ever have a really good idea and you're like, oh, I gotta tell my friend, I gotta tell him, it's a really good idea. Yeah, so yeah. DJ's got it. Carl's talking to me. Let's see, let's move on. Some of you, some of us sometimes we have friends that we saw how they just had a falling out with their parents. They just were like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. They just gave up. They didn't care. They didn't want to try anymore. They were done. And they left the house, they moved out, they went to their friend's house, they moved in with their friends, and you saw they were up here with God, and then you just saw their whole life start crashing down. And I've seen this personally. A couple of my friends, they were like, you know what, Mom and Dad, I'm out of here, I can't deal with you guys anymore. And they left. And every time I see it, it just breaks my heart because you're leaving the people who love you the most. Your parents love you more than anyone else. You know, you could mess up 1,000 times, and you could come back and tell your parents, look, I'm sorry, and they forgive you, and they take you back and love on you because you're their child. And I messed up a lot of times. I tell you, every time I get up here, I tell you guys a story of how I messed up. I don't know if you guys remember them all. I do. But it is just when you see the kids just walk away from their family. I know you guys probably. Has anyone ever seen that? Has anyone ever seen a kid, one of your friends just, you know what? I'm out of here. Peace. I can't deal with you guys anymore. I'm going to Yeah. So it's heartbreaking. And if it doesn't, it just breaks your heart because you look at them and you're like, what are you doing? And you try to speak to them and say, look, go back. You're not going to be able to live a good, you're not going to be able to do it. And they don't want to hear it. And their life, and their spiritual life just goes in the toilet because they just have to squander everything. They have to give up everything they had just to hold that fight that they had with their parents that one day. And it's just, they don't want to go back and talk to their parents and say, look, I was wrong. It's not about us being right all the time, guys, because we're not. I mean, when your parent looks at you and says, I've been on this world a lot longer than you, there's truth to that. There is truth to that. They have a little more knowledge than us. So, probably one of the most challenging things this verse that I was talking about. Children, obey your parents, the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment, with a promise that it may go well with you and you may have enjoy a long life. Probably one of the most challenging things about this verse is what it doesn't say. That we all want to honor our parents. We all want to say, you know what, I honor my parents. No one wants to say, I dishonor my parents. I don't want to say that. I'm sure that everyone here doesn't aim to when they go home to purposely dishonor their parents. But it's like there's always like a, what's up?
I wanted to say it's parallel.
Yeah, I know, I was getting in there.
No.
Yeah. Well, you can, let's see if I say it.
No, I was going to say it's parallel. If you honor your father and mother here, you're going to honor your father in heaven as well.
There you go. Well, that is very true, Sharon. So what I'm saying is, it would be so much easier to honor my parents if they bought me that nice hoodie that I wanted. Or it would be so easy to love my dad if he took me to buy that car that I really wanted. Or something like, I wanted those new pair of shoes, but now I'm not going to love them because they didn't get me those new pair of shoes. And when I say it like that, you guys are like, who the heck says that? Because they're nuts. But you know what? We all say that. We all say it. And you might be like, and even if you don't say it now, you did and you learned. Which I'm really thankful for, you all learned. But I've said that before. It's not a conditional. It's not a condition like, well, if they do this, I'll love them. No, it says honor them. We're supposed to love them unconditionally. We're supposed to we're supposed to try to have a good relationship with them every moment we see our parents. Because let's come down to it. It's easier to have a good relationship than every minute of the day have to be mean to them. Because we're not mean. We're supposed to love. We were designed to love. We were designed to love God. We were created as worshiping people. You guys have ever heard that before? We were made to worship God. So our worshiping of God should be a reflect of our parents and how we love them. And this message alone, even though I'm speaking it to you guys, it hit me. It hit me and it taught me a lot. So I really hope that it hits you guys a little bit. I hope that God, I don't know. Let's see. Honor your father and mother unless, it doesn't say that. It's not unless they do this. It's not, it simply says honor your father and mother, period. That's it. Yeah. There. See it? Honor your father and mother. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't say if they do this, don't honor them. It always says honor your father and mother. There's no condition to it. There's no maybe if they do this, you can kind of hate them a little bit and then love them again. No, you love them all the time. You honor them. You give them respect for what everybody always says respect is earned, not given, which I could argue that. But let's all remember who brought us into the world. Our parents are the ones that gave us this life. Ultimately God planted us in our mother's womb, but our parents are the one that we're responsible. The reason this verse is so simple is the fact that it's written for children. It's written it's not meant to blow your brains out. It's not meant to be like, I can't understand it, it's too complicated, I need to get a Bible dictionary and define every word that's in there. No, it's a simple commandment. Honor your father and mother. You guys understand that, right?
Yes. Sure.
And you're all smart guys. Smart people. You all understand. Smart women and children. If you are not responsible for the things your parents have done to you, you guys are not responsible for the things your parents have done to you. But you are responsible for how you respond to them. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. That is the message. You guys hear me? The message is, you are responsible for you're not responsible for the things your parents have done, but you are responsible for the way you respond. If your parents say something in anger, you respond in love. We're supposed to if your parents don't know Christ, show them Christ through your love. If one day you say, how are they saved? You show them you show them Jesus through your parents say, what's wrong with you? You say, I'm sorry, Mom. I'll do what you need to do. I'll do it for you, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? Part of honoring your parents means taking responsibility to set up and choose to fight for a relationship regarding their actions. We're supposed to fight. This is something we're supposed to fight for. A good relationship with our parents. You guys see what I'm saying? A good relationship. We're supposed to fight for a good relationship. We're not supposed to have this dull, bland, disgusting relationship where we hate our parents all day long and we pray and pray and pray, God, please take me out of this house. I don't want to be here anymore. No, we're designed to work on it. We're designed to work on the relationship and work with our parents and say, Mom and Dad, I understand what you're going through. I understand maybe you can't pay the mortgage this month. I love you. I love you. I'm sorry. Sometimes a sorry and I love you, that's all you need to do. I'll be with Melissa sometimes and I'll say, I completely mess up. I'll say something stupid. I'm a guy, she's a girl. Sometimes it doesn't work. We're not wired the same. And I'll say something, she'll start getting upset. And I'll say, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Shouldn't have said that. I was stupid. Please forgive me. That's the simplest thing. Please forgive me and humble yourself and say, I was wrong. That's what we can do. And you know what? If you guys do it first, your parents will eventually come around and say, you know what? I don't even need to be mean to them, because if I'm mean to them, they just love me. So why don't we just love them back? And you know what? It'll just be a mutual agreement. Basically, you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Honor is a vague word, though. You guys are like, honor? Well, honor what? What? There could be hundreds of ways to honor your parents. Literally. You could be like, well, I can honor them with the things they say. I can honor them with the things they ask me. I could clean my room when they ask me to. Those are all honoring things, like respecting the things they say. The point is, honor might look different in everyone's different family structures. We already said, we all have different families, right? We all have weird families, but we all have different design families. Some of us are hot families, some of us are cold families. Some of us yell at each other to the brink of our vocal cords are going to fall out of our throat, and other ones we just look at each other strangely. Well, sometimes honoring is going to be a little different in the vocal cord falling out of the throat family as opposed to the family that stares evilly at each other. I would say that if you were either of them, you might want to come to the middle and kind of talk about what's going on. You don't want to yell, because when you yell, you can't talk. And when you don't yell, when you don't talk about it, it all gets bottled up in here, and then eventually you explode and cry. And that's not fun either. We already said that we come from very unique families, like I said before. So, honor is going to be a little unique for us. We all need to go home, say, you know what, God, just show me how to honor. Show me how to honor and respect my parents. Because it's up to us uniquely to pick the way we can honor our parents. So what did you guys... Sorry, that was my fault. So basically, we are to... What is our main thing we got to do today? What is the thing we got to go home with, guys?
Good attitude. Money.
No.
Good attitude. Good attitude.
Good attitude. What we need to try to do is remember that you're not responsible for the way your parents have done you. You know, we are responsible to forgive what they've done to us, and we are responsible to say, okay, let's try to make a good relationship. That's what we're responsible for. Let's all try to honor our parents. It's not easy. We need to keep praying for them. You know what? It's something that I want you guys to know that God's going to work on you with. It's not just going to be like, you know, what's that? Yeah, you got to test it out. You really do. Because you know what, guys? If you just sit here and say, well, if I try to honor my parents, they always just yell at me anyway. Well, you know what? You got to be diligent about it. God, that is the commandment. So even if you try to honor them, and every day you honor them, and they still are mean, you're still honoring God, ultimately. You're honoring God, and you're honoring the commandment that He gave. And what Paul said, we need to honor our parents, and we will have what? Enjoy a long life. Come on, guys. What are we going to do? Enjoy a long life. Because what's the opposite of enjoy? I don't even know what unjoy. Yeah. Well, we have some questions. We got to talk about. And Marcus Randall will do that.
Listen, real quick, turn back to the person you were partnered with. Look at him for a second. Say hi to their face.